Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why we call it Uncommon Sense because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I also have another YouTube channel called Latina Diaspora where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos in the United States. The link to that channel is in the description. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes. Meaning, if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment into the chat, you will need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your love and continued support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those uh, follow me on social media, as well as those who watch from the clouds and allow me to enter into devices. So if you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notifications to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to either catch it live or catch it on the playback. So as you can see by the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is life after retirement. In other words, what you're going to do after your many years of working, you retire and you enter into your golden years. So I'm gonna talk about some things to consider what you can do to keep yourself occupied. Now, before we get into the main topic, we're gonna have another episode of In My Words. Now, lately, there's been a great deal of talk regarding $2,000 dividend checks or $2,000 stimulus checks. Okay, remember at the beginning of the year, during the beginning of the current administration, Donald Trump was talking about all the money that Doge was going to save, that he was going to be able to send checks for $5,000. Well, guess what, folks? Those $5,000 checks never became a reality. Okay. Well, the plain simple fact that for any expenditure, especially a large expenditure of sending $5,000 checks, has to be approved by Congress, and Congress is not exactly in a good mood um, to spend hundreds of billions of dollars to give the American people money. Okay, and of course, the whole idea was that with all these savings that Doge was created, we'd be able to send so much money. In fact, if anything, may have spent more money, especially when in God's with the determination of thousands of federal municipal employees only to have to get them back and then pay them back pay. So now Trump is talking about, oh, we're going to give $2,000 stimulus checks and it's going to be issued next year, just in time for the midterm elections. First of all, let's make this perfectly clear. So far, they have collected all this talk regarding the tariffs. They collected $200 billion. Okay, so let's take a look, and we're talking about setting up a criteria of which people making, I don't know, um, under $100,000 a year will get a $2,000 stimulus check. And those who are married couples, jointly, get $4,000. The problem, okay, the problem is this. Now, depending who you speak to, the price tag to send stimulus checks will cost anywhere from 300 billion to 600 billion. Now, mind you, the whole purpose of increasing the tariffs is to increase money which we will use to pay back the debt, not to create more debt. Okay. I believe that stimulus checks are going to be issued when there's actual a bill presented to Congress and Congress approves it, and then the president signs it into law. It's not going to happen. Now, if Trump was serious about wanting to do anything for the American tax public, get rid of the tariffs. That will bring down inflation, which means the current value of the dollar will be increased. Will that happen? No. Okay. But it's comical to listen to Trump talking about stimulus checks and things like that when it takes an act of Congress to approve such a law of expenditure. If Trump really another thing Trump really wanted to do to help the American taxpayer, well, what they can do is lower the cost of pharmaceutical drugs. Will that happen? I doubt it. So, and of course, but when you give people more money, they're going to spend it. They're going to spend it, which means inflation goes up. Now, I want to give a huge shout out to Dreadlock Diaries and my friend Keisha because she now had reached 1,000 subs. Okay. And in the grand scheme of things, okay, a major milestone. Okay. Okay. To reach 1K subs, it's a major accomplishment. And I just want to say a huge shout out to her on her achievement, and also a huge shout out to all of those content creators who are approaching 1,000 subs and will get there shortly. Okay. One thing we all have to bear in mind is that this is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay. And the key to be successful is to continue to produce content on a regular basis, whether it be short videos, whether it be lives, whether it be um, videos, podcasts, whatever. The key is being consistent, consistent, consistent. But we all know and we all need realize not everyone has the time to devote to creating content. Okay. It is time consuming. First of all, you need to think about what's going to be the topic that you wish to talk about. Then you're going to have to do some research and then present your data, your information. So it's understandable. Not everyone has the time, and not everyone has the drive or the energy to produce content on a regular basis. However, if you wish to be successful as a content creator, you do need to produce content on a regular basis. Now, next week on Monday, I'm going to be talking about a serious topic, which is uh, has to do with self-deletion, and I'm going to be talking about why people unfortunately decide to take that route. Also, I'm going to have resources that are available for those who are thinking about self deletion, or they may know someone that's thinking about it. Okay. Um, because I'm not just going to discuss a topic, I'm going to discuss possible solutions. Okay. And one thing we have to bear in mind is that, again, for many people, the holidays are a happy time, but not for all. For some people, this is a lonely time. This is a time where depression increases, where mental health issues increases, and unfortunately, more people are expressing plans to self-delete. I can please, I'll say this again, please think about it, okay? No matter what you're going through, there is a solution, there is a way out. So, with that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. Now, as I stay, and I'm going to continue to stay, um, the link to the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone wishes to hit that link and opine regarding the topic at hand, they may do so. Let me make this perfectly clear. If I never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage to make sure that no one tries to flash anything pornographic, which would cause the people of YouTube to take down this stream. Once I see that you're not going to flash any pornographic images, okay, and that you're going to conduct yourself in a cordial manner, then I will allow you on the panel. Okay. Now, as we get older and we enter into our 40s, 50s, and even 60s, one of the things we do think about is retirement. Okay. It is that stage of our lives where we are no longer working. By then, we are hope no, we're surviving based on what we get receive from Social Security, hopefully a pension, or 401k, things of that nature. So we go through a different stage. Okay. So we go through the stage where we're working every day to the stage where we are retired and we're enjoying our golden age, our golden days. We are enjoying the fruits of our retirement. Okay. I kind of compare it as squirrels gather nuts and all sorts of supplies, um, nuts and berries and things of that nature throughout the spring, going into the summer months. So therefore, when the winter months come, they be able to survive on what they save. Okay. Now, there are people who do fear retirement because for them, their job has been their life. They've devoted so much time to their career that they don't know how to navigate outside of work. Okay, but there's lots of things that you can do to occupy your time. Okay, now in many cities, they have what's called senior citizen centers. These are centers where people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s they gather together and they participate in activities for them. And whether it be bingo, whether it be dominoes, sometimes they'll go on little trips and things of that nature. Other times they might serve meals. So it's a time, so it's it's an opportunity um, to break bread with other people. Okay. And also, there are workshops where where the residents can participate. Okay. Also, it's an excellent time um, to pick up a hobby, whether it be gardening, whether it be painting, whether it be photography, things of that nature. Also, one thing that is a blessing for those who could appreciate it is that when you're retired, you don't have to worry about getting early in the morning to go to work. In fact, you're able to um, get up, at a much leisure way. You can be a late riser. You can be an early riser. That's totally up to you. Another thing you can do when they take advantage is you can travel, particularly if you have um, a robust retirement income via Social Security, pensions, and 401ks and things of that nature. You can go on trips. Okay. Um, you can travel. You can travel to Europe. You can travel to Asia, or you can travel domestically if that's something that you would like to do. Okay. Let me just check and see if there's anybody. Because one problem is I don't always check on who's watching on Instagram. Okay. Now there are some people, they may decide to go to college to take courses. That's a very good way to keep yourself occupied. Okay. My thing is just be careful as far as how you pay for college. Okay. Because the last thing you want to do is accumulate student debt, particularly in your senior years. Another thing you can also do is learn a new language. Okay, if that's something that you wanted to do, but you never had the time nor the opportunity to do so, that's something else you can do. Okay, another way that you can occupy your time, particularly as the weather gets more favorable. You can take nature walks. Okay. Nature walks, in fact, walking is a very good form of exercise. First of all, uh, you're moving your legs and you're getting fresh air. Okay, so that's something to consider. Now, let me just, now I do have some things in mind when it's my time to retire. Okay, first of all, some things I'm not going to change. I'm still going to be active with my local, which is SSU Local 371, which is one of the locals from DC 37 that deals with municipal employees who are who work in social services. So I will continue being involved as far as committee meetings concerns, attending union functions, things like that. The difference is I'll be doing it as a retiree. I also plan to be an active participant with the Retirement Association with DC 37, which is the one of the largest municipal unions in the city of New York. So I will be networking with other retirees and will have activities and things of that nature. Another thing I plan to do to keep myself occupied is to devote more time um, with the senior citizen centers in my neighborhood. We are blessed that we have two senior citizen centers in our area. Okay, which means that I'll have plenty of free time to involve myself in any of the activities. A lot of it social, a lot of it educational, and of course, there's the interaction which I'll have with other senior citizens. Okay, which is a good way to fight loneliness. Okay. I also plan to travel. Okay. In fact, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I have two places in my bucket list that I wish to go when it's time for me to travel. I would like to go to Europe, and there's two cities that I really truly have my heart's desire to visit. One of them is Madrid, and the other one is in London. London. Why? Why would I go there? I'm always fascinated regarding um, the old cities of Europe. Okay, and of course it helps with going to Madrid that I speak Spanish, even though the type of Spanish that they speak is a little different compared to the Spanish that um, most people who are part of the Puerto Rican diaspora. But I will be able to communicate, so that's something I would appreciate. And of course, there's something about London that I would like to visit. Now, I have heard that the food over there is not the most appetizing. Okay, um, I think that's based on a bias. Okay, and maybe based on people instead of actually sampling the food that they serve over there, maybe something is it is based on other people's commentary. Of course, I have to be mindful that they have different words that mean different things. Like for example, um, here in the United States, we call pants slacks. Um, I'm not sure. I think they call them something else. Good evening, Georgia. Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay, so just to let you know, I'm talking about life after retirement. So I'm just talking about some of the things that we can do once we hit the golden years. Okay. Um, Now French. Okay. Now they call French fries chips over there in the UK. Also, like for example, here we call them underwear. No, we have underwear, and then we have for men, and then panties for women. Over there, they're called not knickers or knickers, which is it's a little weird. Also, their word for truck is a lorry. So I will have this will be sometime after I actually retire, Georgia. probably like within the first 2 years of my retirement. Now, I have decided that I'm going to retire once I'm 65. Okay. So I've given myself either late 2027 or early 28 where I'm actually going to retire. Okay. Now, I know people that think about retiring once they hit 62. I know, I know. Now, you can retire at 62. The problem is when it comes to Social Security, um, you will be getting a significantly reduced annual benefit. Oh, yes, there is cost of living adjustments every year, but it's just something to consider. Now, of course, the for people born after 1960, um, full social Sec- full age for the age for full Social Security benefits, it's 67, and then um, if you decide to hang on to 70, you'll get more money. I took a look at the estimates of what I will be getting in Social Security at age 65 compared to age 67. And to me, it does not a justification to work the last work until I'm 67. Particularly since I'm getting a pension, I'm getting Social Security, and then I'll have a 401k. And another thing to take into consideration is that sweet spot. And what I mean sweet spot, that is the age when you start to make more money as a retiree compared to an employee. Okay. And I'm estimating by the time I reach 65 that I will be making more money as a retiree as compared to an employee. So that is my motivation why to get okay. Also at age 65, I'll be I'm a I'm a senior citizen, but yeah, I'll be like a younger senior citizen. Okay, and and of course there are certain things to consider. Like for example, when 3 months before you reach 67, of course you'll have to apply for Medicare. Okay, which is the health plan for retirees. Okay, and of course you have Part A, Part B, Part C, Part D. Okay. Now the good thing for me that I am a municipal employee, and I've been a municipal employee for 26 years. So therefore, when I do retire, I will continue to receive medical benefits. I will continue to receive prescription benefits. Of course, it will not be through my local; it'll be through DC 37. Okay. And I wouldn't have to apply for part. I think I'll only have to apply for Part A. That's something I'm going to have to discuss when it gets close to the time for me to retire. Okay. Now, one thing that I would encourage anyone to do if they're surely thinking about retiring, give yourself plenty of time so you can properly fill out all the forms that you need regarding your retirement, regarding um, what's going to be your medical medical coverage and things of that nature. Now, I would recommend, strongly recommend, that when it comes to like your retirement, whether it be for your pension, social security, for 1K, that you select the direct deposit. Why? First of all, the funds go directly into your account, number one. Number two, you don't have to worry about checks getting lost in the mail or people messing up, you know, uh, people um, playing around with the U.S. mail, things of that nature. And it's safer that way. It's safer that way, and you have access to your money. So when it's my time to retire, of course I'm going to request direct deposit. Now this is something also there's certain taxes where you'll be exempt. Now, don't quote me on this because I'm gonna have to ask my tax person when I go to file my taxes next year. I think Social Security and my pension are exempt from federal taxes. And I said, I think. I don't want to say yes and then people, you know, get upset when things of that nature. I'm not a tax person, so I don't claim to be a tax person. This is something that I was told when I did my taxes this year. So if it's true, that means I only have to pay state and local taxes, which means guess what? I get to enjoy more of my money, which is a good thing. Okay. Let's see what else. Oh yes. And another thing about when it comes to retirement, in a lot of places, they do offer discounts for senior citizens, particularly if you belong to AARP. Okay, where that's the American Association for Retired Peoples, and basically to join AARP, you just have to be at least 50 years old. Okay. Now, one example of as far as discount for elderly people is that there is this diner where I go sometimes where they do offer a discount for people who are over the age of 60. Okay. And also there are, there are lots of privileges that you can request. Okay. Okay. For example, um, when you are flying, you can request to have wheelchair. Okay, request a wheelchair um, for your outgoing flight and your incoming flight. Now, what's the advantages of asking for a wheelchair? First of all, you spend less time going through security. Number one. Number two, people who are in wheelchairs get the board before everybody else, even before the passengers in first class. Which means, guess what, folks? You can get to your seat, and then you can make sure that you can stow away your carry-on luggage without having to fight with someone for stowaway space. Okay, and that's something that I take advantage of. Okay, so let me just check and see. Excuse me. Good evening, Denise. How are you doing tonight? Thank you very much for joining. This Okay. My apologies. It's just like every now and then I do have to check on Instagram because sometimes I will just like run at the mouth and forget to check. But now, of course, of course, the golden years, it does have its challenges. Okay, one of the challenges is that as you get older, um, more and more of the people which are your loved ones and your close friends pass away, or sometimes people become distant. Okay, so what happens is sometimes you have people, you have senior citizens who deal with loneliness. Okay, and of course, um, sometimes people can get the elderly can get depressed. Okay, which is why which is why it's important um, to try to develop new friends. If you're a try a, join senior citizen centers or things of that nature, or join or any or group of people where elderly people meet. Okay, do you have to talk with all of them? No, but use your discernment regarding who to associate with and who to avoid. Okay, and of course, it's another opportunity that you have in doing your retirement is to learn another language. Okay, so maybe you're thinking about learning Spanish and you never had the time to do so for whatever reason. Well, guess what, folks? When you have retired, you'll have plenty of time to learn a language. Maybe learn two languages. Okay, so let just check. Okay, and of course, you can learn how to cook. Also, if you are a content creator, of course, you will have plenty of time to create content. So you don't have to worry about trying to find the time to do content. Okay. And of course, we all understand that not everyone has the time nor the energy to create content on social media. Now, there are some people that do decide to do like a part-time job uh, in order to keep themselves busy. I mean, that's fine. Okay. Um, if you want to earn a little extra money, that's fine. Um, but just be mindful that not everyone wants to continue working, even part time, once they retire. Um, I'm not really thinking about working once I retire. When I decide to retire, basically once I retire, that's it. Okay, I'm going to do everything I can to enjoy my retirement years. And of course, one issue that affects all seniors is health issues. Okay. Um, that's why you should get into the habit of good evening, April Showers. Thank you very much for stopping by. Good evening, Don Armando. So we're talking about life after retirement. So I'm talking about uh, what other things to do once you retired. So now, I'm talking about some of the serious issues that retired people do face. One of them is health issues. Okay, um, it's very important to stay on top of your health. It's very important to make sure that you eat a proper diet. Make sure that you get some sort of exercise every day. Make sure that you go to your doctor's appointments regularly. Okay. If you're not feeling well, um, go to a doctor, have the doctor examine you. Okay. So if you do have a medical problem, it could be corrected before it becomes a major critical problem. Now, what I notice is that not everyone is attentive when it comes to dealing with their health. And one sad part is I have known many people that shortly after they retired, they passed away. And the main reason is because they have medical issues that for reasons that are beyond my comprehension, they didn't take care of. They weren't diligent. They didn't keep on the, you know, they didn't stay vigilant. And the sad part is that I have lost siblings prematurely because they did not take proper care of themselves. I had one brother that passed away at 36. I have a second brother that passed away at 49. I have a third brother who passed away at 56. And a sister that passed away at age 68 due to stage 4 lung cancer. So that, considering all that has transpired, it had motivated me to make sure that I that I stay vigilant regarding my health. And when I mean vigilant, I'm also talking about my emotional health, and I'm also talking about my spiritual health. Okay, which I like to refer to as the four legs of the stool. Okay, your physical health constitute one leg. Your emotional health is another leg. Your health is your third leg, and your spiritual health is the fourth leg. Okay. If you are sound in when it comes to your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, and your spiritual health, you're gonna be well. You'll be very healthy. However, if you're not healthy in one, it will affect the other aspects of your life. So you really need to be mindful with that, and you need to be mindful to to be alert when it comes to your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, and your spiritual health. It is very very important. Okay, and and of course, as you get older, um, your immune system gets weaker. You get more affected because of different illnesses. Okay, and of course, unfortunately, some people um, they get to the stage where they become fully dependent on others to take care of them. Now, I was a caregiver for my father part of the time and my mother on a regular basis. So when when you become a caregiver to your parent, in essence, the roles switch. So you become the adult, and the child, and the parent becomes the child, in the sense that they're dependent on you. Now, if you are diligent regarding your health, you're going to be around a considerable length of time. Okay. Um, my father lived to be 83 years old. My mother lived to be 86. I'm currently 63. How long would I be before I pass away? I don't know. Only God knows. But I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I am physically well, emotionally well, mentally well, and spiritually well. And that's for some people in their retirement age. That could be a struggle, which is why it's very important to stay diligent regarding your health. Now, I have been talking for almost 50 minutes. So if anyone wishes to hit that link and opine regarding the topic, then they do so. If not, then I'll stop to wrap this up. Okay. Now, I did discuss this topic previously, but I decided to bring it up again because, of course, everyday people are retiring. Okay. Some people retire in their early 60s. Other people retire in the mid 60s. Other people retire in the 70s. So there have been people that work into their 80s and 90s. God bless them if they want to do that. Not me. Okay. I already decided that once I reach 65, that's a wrap. I'm going to retire. I'm going to enjoy my retirement. Okay. And plus, I'm planning for it by keeping myself active, keeping myself occupied with constructive activities, okay, which will occupy my time. Okay. One of the worst things you can do is you can retire and have nothing to do to occupy your time, because then um, it starts to affect your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, and your spiritual well-being, and then eventually, in time, it will affect your physical well-being. Okay. Um, and for the benefit of those who are just tuning in, the topic for tonight is life after retirement. So what I've been talking about is what the things to do after you have decided to retire. There are many things you can do to occupy your time. There are many hobbies that you can participate. Okay. You just need to, what you should be doing is you should be thinking about how you're going to live your retirement while you are still working. Do not wait until you actually retire and then you start to figure it out. Because then what it does is it's going to rob your peace. Okay. Because you know the saying, those who fail to plan to fail. Which is why for the last year or so, I've been planning um, how I'm going to um, live my retirement. Okay, so I would strongly recommend that those of you that have not done so, start thinking about how you're gonna spend your retirement age, your retirement years. Okay. Now, being that no one is going to join me, I'm going to start to wrap this up. Okay. So I do hope that all of you, particularly those of you who are approaching retirement age, we start to take into consideration all the things out that I have discussed. I really do recommend strongly that you start planning how you're going to live your retirement years. Um, and I think you'll be pleased when you think about the things you'll be able to do and the amount of time that you'll have available. Now, the next time I'm going to go live will be on Friday at 10:30 p.m. with another episode of Open Discussion. Now, for the benefit of those of you who do not know what it's about, it's simple. I'm going to share my opinions regarding multiple topics, okay? Because the audience will have an opportunity to opine regarding each topic we will be discussed. The audience will also have an opportunity uh, to suggest things that they want me to talk about. I will do my best to comply. If it's something that I do not know anything about, I will be transparent and say so. Some things I will not discuss because I don't want to get into those topics. People can get very emotional and very extremely opinionated, and that's not me. Okay, I believe in creating an atmosphere where people are able to express their thoughts in a mature adult manner. And some topics, people they just don't know how to discuss things in a mature way. So I would encourage you if you can, please share this content. Okay. And of course, the playback again, you're more than welcome to enter your comments. All I ask folks is try to keep it respectable. Otherwise, if you get nasty, the comments are going to be deleted. And of course, if you're not done so, I'm going to ask you to check out April Showers, check out her content, subscribe to her channel, and the same thing with Don. And of course, I'll ask if you have not done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. Uh, Set the bell notifications to all, like my content, so that therefore, whenever I produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. And of course, we're going to close the same way that we always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. And of course, whatever we say and do, we should do to the glory of God. Okay. Because when we do it for our own glory, um, it's fleeting. But but we do it, when we do things for God's glory, it's truly blessed. So, with that being said, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for your diligence. Thank you very much for your support. Okay. I still can't get over the fact that I've gained over 1K subs and now I'm at 1,060. So I may end the year, say, with 1,100 or even 1,200, which is like, whoa. But I really appreciate the love and support all of you have given me. And of course, I don't take it for granted. And it's not for vain glory for me, but it's to bring glory and honor to God. So with that being said, I'll hopefully see you all Friday. So take care, stay blessed, and peace.